And what is it that makes the Autorek and Microsoft collaboration more than just a technology integration? Because, how does it strategically strengthen your ability to support senior finance, operations, risk, and data stakeholders?
Microsoft are obviously, one of the leaders in their field. Partnering with Microsoft is more of a strategic, vision for us. It adds huge amounts of value to our clients. They are absolute leaders in security, reliability, scalability, and it adds a lot of credibility to the way that Autorek goes to market, can support our clients, especially in a very regulatory-driven buying cycle. So, providing future-ready infrastructure, I think that's very key. Making sure that, we're not thinking about the now, we're thinking about what this means going forward. With the introductions of things like AI, and other technologies, I think we need to future-proof ourselves, but also make sure that our clients are supported in what the future looks like. And Microsoft are one of the leading institutions in that field. So, providing very scalable infrastructure, but making sure that we can utilize all the products and services they have to offer to make sure that our clients are benefiting from that relationship.
What attracts you to partner with Autorek?
I think Autorek brings the level of expertise that complements Microsoft offering. Working with Autorek for many years now, the reconciliation aspect, the controls aspect, that it's part of the platform, but also embedded into Azure. So Autorek gives the deep domain expertise, and Microsoft provides the scalable and secure platform. So it's a win-win partnership.
So Nick, I'm going to throw a number at you, and this one's from your recent payments survey, I believe, which is that 69% of firms cite manual processes as a barrier to growth. That's considerable, that's more than 2/3. So how does the Autorek Microsoft partnership specifically automate those bottlenecks to scalability?
A very, very important point of the relationship that we have with Microsoft is that traditionally there's been unrealized value locked into the reconciliation process. And that is often due to, the manual processes and, 69% of firms saying that this is the barrier to growth. So what we look to do with Microsoft and the Microsoft relationship is to unlock the potential of that unrealized value, to really add value to firms and, using those resources more effectively in terms of analyzing their data, analyzing their reports, rather than preparing, the processes that underpin the products that they offer to their clients. So, with that being said, I think of the 69%, a lot of the heavy lifting is done in the data management side of things. Data is very difficult to use effectively, especially in the payments landscape where, there's disparate, systems and processes and data sources. So what, the partnership with Microsoft allows us to do is to take, a very manual world of data management and transform that into a more automated, integrated, value-realizing, environment for our clients, where they can, unlock the unrealized value from those processes being automated versus very manual.
The 69% of challenges in terms of fragmentation and operational inefficiencies is a really stark number, and I think what Microsoft and Autorek delivers as a compelling proposition to the market is the aspect that Autorek enables the automation, so brings the control level to a more strategic layer, and Microsoft brings this scalability and elasticity to the process. So regardless of the size of the organization, you can benefit from Autorek's expertise and Microsoft's scalable infrastructure to really not only deliver high performance in terms of reconciliation, but also to be, let's say, future ready in terms of future releases of AI, Copilot, and Azure products. So that's, I think, how we complement each other.
And how does this partnership enable Autorek to deliver enterprise-grade resilience, security, and regulatory assurance that today's finance and risk leaders demand?
It's probably worth mentioning that Autorek's been granted our solution partner certification with Microsoft. But I believe that we're one of the first organizations to do so in the UK. And I mean, that speaks absolute volumes about our credibility to provide enterprise grade reconciliation software to financial services businesses around the globe. I think what's also important is that we don't see ourselves as a standalone application to our clients. The relationship with Microsoft is really about ensuring that we position Autorek as a very interoperable solution to work with different applications available on the Azure marketplace for firms, so that they not only benefit from the Autorek application and products that we have to offer, but they're also the downstream and upstream applications that Autorek interacts with can be interoperable with each other, the sharing of data, and it just it creates an end-to-end seamless process. We speak about end-to-end a lot with our clients, and I think it's very important about not looking at applications in isolation of each other. They really need to speak to each other seamlessly, and our relationship with Microsoft and being on the Azure marketplace and being accredited with these great accreditations with Microsoft really speaks volumes to our ability to provide that enterprise level software to the financial services industry.
We're in an industry, obviously, that has constant regulatory change. So how can Autorek and Microsoft help firms even, to stay compliant?
Yeah, so the expectations from the regulator will not, decrease. So the industry is becoming more complex. There are more, let's say, attack vectors. There are more risk aspects to consider. So one thing that we see as a key differential in working with Autorek is the fact that both Autorek and Microsoft has long-term conversations with regulators to understand where is the agenda is going in terms of regulation, and be able to anticipate what regulatory requirements needs to be embedded in Autorek, but also in our cloud solution. So this is something that's like an open dialogue, and Microsoft and Autorek has been very close to regulators to make sure that the solutions are basically considering regulatory requirements by design, not something that is like a bolt-on.
And what is it that makes the Autorek and Microsoft collaboration more than just a technology integration? Because, how does it strategically strengthen your ability to support senior finance, operations, risk, and data stakeholders?
Microsoft are obviously, one of the leaders in their field. Partnering with Microsoft is more of a strategic vision for us. It adds huge amounts of value to our clients. They are absolute leaders in security, reliability, scalability, and it adds a lot of credibility to the way that Autorek goes to market, can support our clients, especially in a very regulatory-driven buying cycle. So providing future-ready infrastructure, I think that's very key. Making sure that we're not thinking about the now, we're thinking about what this means going forward. With the introductions of things like AI, and other technologies, I think we need to future-proof ourselves, but also make sure that our clients are supported in what the future looks like. And Microsoft are one of the leading institutions in that field. So providing very scalable infrastructure, but making sure that we can utilize all the products and services that they have to offer to make sure that our clients are benefiting from that relationship.
Any big predictions for 2026?
Predictions for 2026? Yes, I think the first thing in our world at Autorek, I think reconciliations are going to be looked at as part of the risk infrastructure of firms, as opposed to an accounting tooling process. So that obviously means that there's going to be more emphasis on that. It's also going to be integrated, as we've spoken about today. It's going to have to scale effectively. And again, just referencing our partnership with Microsoft, that's the strategic vision of us going forward. Infrastructure providers are going to be looked at in terms of their AI resilience rather than their AI application suite. AI resilience is going to be key regulatory wise, but also operationally for firms. So I think those infrastructure providers will be judged on their AI resiliency. And I think that, if we're speaking particularly about the payments landscape, I think we're going to see continued innovation. I think we're going to see more regulation. I just think that this is a year where we're going to see a lot of change, consolidation, technologies introduced into the market. I think it's an exciting time. It's a very uncertain time, but definitely exciting. And I think it unlocks a lot of potential for the industry for innovation and collaboration.
Yeah, I think in terms of predictions for 2026, the operational inefficiency in reconciliations becoming the bottleneck for growth. So the industry is being squeezed in terms of operating margins. So this is one of the pain points that, if addressed, all downstream processes and activities will benefit from that. So I think that would be perhaps the main thing, that addressing inefficiencies in reconciliation, it's an imperative to enable growth. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is about the real-time visibility. So when you think about the way the industry operates, by the time you achieve some form of outcome in any analysis, it might be too late, because the market is very volatile, there's a lot of uncertainty, and we cannot afford just to have full visibility every month or every week. That needs to be real time.
Yeah.
But in order to be real time, you need the right infrastructure, you need the right platform. So these are the two things. And I think the third one I would say is to think about which parts of this process will be delegated to agents. So agents is an emerging technology, let's say, paradigm where they can handle work 24/7, can ingest unstructured data, and it will play a key role in the reconciliations aspect. And actually, that's something that Microsoft and Autorek are working at the moment in terms of creating an agentic offering for reconciliations. And that, I think, will be quite transformative, perhaps towards the end of 26, but definitely something to watch out.